I am a college of general practitioners with its headquarters at Chennai, which is catering to the needs of the general practitioners of this country, has now ventured to bring a CME right onto your consulting chamber, or even in fact to your bedroom late in the night. You can see it on your smartphone also. The busy practitioner is spending his time between his family and the general practice which he has to cater to the society at large. See, these CMEs are being oriented, more clinical oriented, and at the same time we are trying to give it as though you are going through a book, a textbook. That is how all the sessions has been planned, to give a send back the feeders for this entire sessions. All the sessions could be seen on the website www.imacgpindia.com. The session now to be seen will be on glaucoma. Many might feel glaucoma is not such a common ailment, while cataract or refractive errors are the most common problems. I think a cataract or refractive error will have to be referred to an ophthalmologist to be taken care of your patients. But as far as glaucoma is concerned, it has to be identified by you before being referred to an ophthalmologist to do a screening or a care or whatever it is. That is why this topic has been covered by none other than Dr. Kavita Lakshmi, a very qualified and accomplished ophthalmologist here from Chennai.
A very good day to you all. I am Dr. K. Kavita Lakshmi. I am a consultant ophthalmologist at Dr. KK Surgical and Pediatric Center and KK Eye Hospital, Chennai. I am here before you to present a few interesting facts about glaucoma. Why do you have to know more about glaucoma? Because it is one of the leading causes of irreversible blindness, and it accounts for around 13.5% of global blindness. A very bad news is that the vision that is lost forever. No amount of innovative treatment and latest management can recover the lost vision. But the good news is that nearly all cases of blindness due to glaucoma are preventable. But this prevention is only possible if early diagnosis and prompt treatment is initiated. The characteristic feature of a glaucoma is the peripheral contraction of the visual field. In the early stages, the peripheral vision lost is not identified, but in the advanced stage, the patient presents with a very narrow tunnel vision, having only an island of central vision. At this stage, what we can do is only to preserve the current island of vision, or try to preserve the current island of vision. As we all know, glaucoma is considered to be elevated intraocular pressure. But a lot of things have changed about glaucoma. Glaucoma is no longer considered to be or equated to elevated intraocular pressure. It is actually a triad where there is a significant visual field loss. There is also a significant optic nerve head damage which causes the visual field loss associated with intraocular pressure elevation. So, this intraocular pressure is one major risk factor for glaucoma. Glaucoma is not equal to intraocular pressure. Why I tell you this? Because glaucoma is a group of eye disorder associated with a dangerous buildup of intraocular pressure which damages the optic nerve. The normal range is between 10 to 21 millimeters of mercury. But there are two entities. One is called an ocular hypertension, the other is called a normal tension glaucoma. In ocular hypertension, even though the pressure is up to 30 millimeters of mercury, there is no optic nerve head damage and there is no visual field loss. Whereas the contrast is the case with normal tension glaucoma. The pressure is very much within normal. It is just below 20 millimeters of mercury, but the patient keeps developing significant visual field loss and significant optic nerve head damage. So, an ideal intraocular pressure would be an intraocular pressure which does not cause an elevated significant damage in the optic nerve head or a significant visual field loss. Now let us consider several interesting clinical situations which present as glaucoma. We all know that glaucoma is a very silent disease which has no symptoms at all. before going into the details of glaucoma, let us brush up our basic anatomy and physiology, because this is important. It classifies the glaucoma as open angle glaucoma and angle closure glaucoma. You can see the picture here. The angle is nothing but the angle formed between the cornea and the iris. At that junction, you have a meshwork that is called the trabecular meshwork. So the aqueous humor, which is secreted by the ciliary epithelium at the ciliary body, which is marked by the blue arrow, actually comes behind the iris and enters through the pupil and reaches the angle, and there it is drained through the trabecular meshwork into the episcleral vein. An increased secretion of aqueous humor, or if there is a block at the trabecular meshwork, then there is a dangerous buildup of intraocular pressure, and this pressure mechanically pushes the optic nerve head and causes significant visual field loss and significant vision damage. In open angle glaucoma, the trabecular meshwork is narrowed and sclerosed, whereas in an angle closure glaucoma, the eyes, certain eyes are predisposed to developing an angle closure glaucoma, that is a very small eye or an anteriorly placed lens, wherein if there is a mild dilatation of the pupil, it causes a crowding of the iris at the angle which I mentioned earlier, thus mechanically blocking the outflow of the aqueous, and hence the intraocular pressure builds up. So this is about the basic anatomy and physiology. With this in mind, let us now face lot of clinical situations. The glaucoma in almost 90% of the cases is a very silent sight stealer, a silent killer, but it also has several other phases, and it can also affect many different age group of people. In situation 1, a 50-year-old man complains of a defective near vision. He keeps changing glasses at the optical shops, always at the optical shops, and he consults the ophthalmologist only at the age of 60 with dull vision, thinking that he is having cataract. On examination, he was found to have a concentric visual field loss. Almost 90% of the optic nerve head is lost, and his IOP, when recorded, was found to be 28 millimeters of mercury. He had absolutely no symptoms. He had no headache, no blurring, no watering. All these years he has not checked his intraocular pressure or has had a fundus examination, and now there is no other go, he has to live with it. And this is a typical presentation of 90% of the glaucomas. It is a chronic open angle glaucoma. Now, if glaucoma is such a silent disease, who needs screening? So, you can advise glaucoma screening for any person above 40 years of age, for any diabetic, for any hypertensive or a myope, and with a significant family history of glaucoma. Now, let us consider another clinical situation where a 2-year-old boy present to your clinic with constant watering, sensitivity to light. Just a torchlight examination would reveal an unusually large cornea, as you see in this case. It is a case of ophthalmos, which means large cornea, and it is nothing but congenital glaucoma. So glaucoma can present at any age. Another situation where a 24-year-old lady presents to you with severe stomach pain and loose stools. You prescribe her an antispasmodic. Next day, she complains with severe eye pain, redness, headache, vomiting. Her stomach pain might have gone. And a brief history would reveal that she had been using +5 glasses since her childhood. She was a hypermetrope, and again a torchlight examination would reveal a mid-dilated pupil with circumciliary congestion or a congested eye and a cloudy cornea. It is a case of angle closure glaucoma. You can see in this picture, in this photograph, a mid-dilated pupil and also a cloudy cornea. So what has initiated this glaucoma? It is the antispasmodic drug which had caused a mild dilatation of the pupil, and probably she was a hypermetrope, so she had a very small eye, and so it is an anatomically predisposed eye for glaucoma. So angle closure glaucoma is common in persons with narrow angles and small eyes, and the presentation is so acute that you seek immediate medical attention. If I am given a choice, you have to have glaucoma, and which glaucoma you would like to have, I would prefer to have an angle closure glaucoma rather than an open angle glaucoma, because the symptoms are so acute that you immediately seek medical attention, you never ignore it. There are a few other drugs which predispose this glaucoma. A few are tricyclic antidepressants, anti-Parkinsonian drugs, sulfonamides, etc. But these may precipitate glaucoma in anatomically predisposed eyes, that is, those eyes which have a narrow angle, small cornea, and a shallow anterior chamber. Now let us consider another clinical situation where a 45-year-old lady was recently detected to have rheumatoid arthritis, and she had been prescribed hydroxychloroquine and oral steroids. Within 2 weeks, she comes back and she complains of early morning blurring, occasionally associated with seeing colored halos. You may think it could be a chloroquine toxicity, but it is very rare now. On recording her intraocular pressure, IOP, we found it was 32 millimeters of mercury in both the eyes. The eyes were very quiet and white. It was a case of steroid-induced glaucoma. There are a few people who are steroid responders who have a genetic predisposition. When they are given either topical or oral steroids, the IOP gets elevated very significantly, causing a significant optic nerve head damage and clouding of the cornea, which causes this symptom. Usually on stopping these medications or discontinuing it, the intraocular pressure comes back to normal. So please be careful while prescribing steroids for asthma, skin disorders, etc. And this is a very common situation which most of you would have experienced and met. There is a 75-year-old gentleman who complained with severe headache, vomiting. So you treat him with analgesics and antiemetics. The pain only keeps aggravating and the vomiting becomes more and more severe, and just an examination of his eye with a torchlight reveals a very hypermature cataract with highly congested eyes. It is a case of phacolytic glaucoma or lens-induced glaucoma. This is a photograph of the totally ripe hypermature cataract, and you also see how the cornea is very clouded because of the very high intraocular pressure. Another situation is a 55-year-old lady presented with defective vision 3 to 4 months back. She actually was treated as a glaucoma for the past 3 months. Her intraocular pressure was borderline. It was 20 on her right eye and 18 millimeters of mercury on her left eye with the medication. And on just examining the fundus, we found that she had an optic disc pallor, and the fields revealed a bitemporal hemianopia. This can be mimicking as normal tension glaucoma, but it was actually a case of pituitary tumor, and she had to undergo surgery for the pituitary tumor. But still the vision lost, the visual field lost was lost, and we could not recover that visual field defect. And these pictures show the recent gadgets in the diagnosis of glaucoma and also to assess the progression of glaucoma. We have the retinal nerve fiber layer analyzer and optical coherence tomography, commonly called as OCT. And thus, to sum up, early diagnosis and prompt treatment prevents blindness due to glaucoma. Glaucoma can present at any age. It has many phases, as we have seen, and beware while prescribing certain drugs like antispasmodic, tricyclic antidepressants, steroids, etc. Advise screening for at-risk patients And last but not the least, do get screened if you have crossed 40. As we have discussed, glaucoma is a silent sight stealer, and identifying glaucoma is a very difficult task. It is the utmost duty of family physicians to promptly identify, recognize and advise screening and refer for prompt treatment to prevent irreversible blindness, thus reducing global blindness and economic burden for the society. Thank you very much.